Hey everyone, welcome back to Talk Tickers. We usually break down earnings calls, but today we're doing something a little different.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a change up.
There's some big financial news we need to dive into.
Definitely making headlines.
The Bank of Japan just made a surprising decision on interest rates, and well, it's sending ripples through the market.
For sure.
Okay, so here's the deal. The Bank of Japan, or BOJ for short, has decided to keep interest rates steady at 0.25%.
Right.
This is the third meeting in a row where they've chosen to hold rates.
Third time's the charm.
Well, a lot of experts thought so. They were expecting a rate hike this time around.
It's a bold move for sure.
Exactly. And this decision to hold has caused the Japanese yen to weaken. So
yeah, things are getting interesting.
what's going on here? Why would the BOJ hold back when it seems like a rate hike might be the obvious play?
Well, it's a bit of a balancing act. On the one hand, Japan's inflation has been above their 2% target for a while now.
I was going to say, that's pretty significant.
Yeah, and this inflation is being fueled in part by rising wages.
That usually means a rate hike is coming.
Exactly. You'd think so, right?
So what's the catch?
Well, the BOJ is also really focused on consumer spending.
Okay.
And recent data has shown that household spending has actually been declining.
Oh, so they're worried that raising rates could make that decline even worse.
Exactly. They don't want to slam the brakes on economic growth.
Yeah, it's a tough spot to be in.
It really is. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And then you've got this whole other layer of complexity with the new U.S. administration under Trump.
Oh, yeah, that adds a whole other dimension for sure.
Any major policy shifts in the U.S., especially with trade or spending?
Right, could have a huge impact on Japan.
So are they just playing a waiting game at this point?
It seems that way.
I mean, how long can they realistically hold off on making a decision?
Well, there's some speculation that they might be waiting to see what happens with the wage negotiations in early 2025.
Okay, so trying to get a sense of whether these wage increases we're seeing are going to stick around.
Exactly. They want to be sure it's not just a temporary thing.
That's interesting. So much uncertainty in the air right now. And of course, everyone's watching the Japanese yen like a hawk.
Of course. A weaker yen has implications way beyond Japan.
Right. It's not just a domestic issue.
Not at all. Think about it. A weaker yen makes Japanese goods more attractive to buyers in other countries.
So potentially boosting their exports.
Exactly. But on the flip side, it also makes imported goods more expensive for people in Japan.
Leading to higher prices on everyday items.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Definitely benefits and drawbacks depending on your perspective.
Absolutely. And then you have to factor in that the yen's value is influenced by so many things.
Okay, like what?
Well, you've got Japan's overall trade balance, obviously actions taken by the Bank of Japan, and then even global events can cause fluctuations.
Wow, it's all interconnected.
Very much so.
So for someone who might not be super familiar with the yen, can you give us a little history lesson? Like, why is it even called the yen?
Well, the name yen actually translates to round object, pretty straightforward.
Huh, interesting.
It comes from the shape of the original silver coins they used in Japan.
Oh, wow. Okay, I did not know that. I also read that the 500 yen coin is one of the highest value coins used anywhere in the world.
You're right, it's up there. And then you have things like the carry trade.
Carry trade.
Yeah, it's a strategy where investors borrow money in a currency with a low interest rate.
Which the yen is right now.
Exactly. And then they use that money to invest in assets with a higher return in another currency. It's a way to take advantage of that interest rate differential.
Okay, I'm following you.
But it can also further weaken the yen.
Got it. So it's not just what's happening within Japan, but also how global investors are interacting with the currency.
Exactly. It's a global game.
Fascinating. So we've got all these factors swirling around as we wait to see what the BOJ will do next.
A lot of uncertainty right now.
It's a complex and constantly evolving situation, for sure. And it's definitely something we'll be following closely here at Talk Tickers.
Absolutely.
But before we get too deep into predictions and hypotheticals, I think it's time for everyone's favorite segment.
Oh,
This is not financial advice.
Laughs. Let's hear it. What wild trade idea did you come up with?
All right, so picture this. What if, and again, I can't stress this enough, this is purely hypothetical.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We invest in Japanese companies that specialize in exporting traditional crafts.
Okay.
Think about it. The yen is weak, right?
Right.
So that means Japanese goods are suddenly a lot more affordable to buyers overseas.
Makes sense.
And I'm not talking about like high-tech gadgets or anything.
Okay.
I'm thinking handcrafted ceramics, beautiful textiles, incredible woodblock prints.
Ah, I see where you're going with this.
Things that are uniquely Japanese,
Yeah.
with that real artisanal appeal.
Yeah, you're tapping into that made in Japan reputation for quality and craftsmanship.
Exactly. People want authenticity. They want something special
And a weaker yen makes those Japanese crafts even more accessible.
to a global market.
It's a pretty clever play, honestly, taking advantage of the current situation.
You're essentially betting on the fact that people will always love Japanese artistry.
Which, historically speaking,
Yeah, pretty safe bet.
it's not a bad bet at all.
Plus, it's a way to potentially tap into a market that might not be as affected by global economic ups and downs.
That's true. People who are really into traditional crafts are probably less likely to be swayed by,
Short-term market trends.
Exactly.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. What if, on top of investing in these companies,
Okay.
we also look into tourism opportunities focused on experiencing these crafts firsthand?
Interesting.
Imagine curated tours that take travelers to the workshops of master artisans,
Whoa, wow.
giving them a glimpse into the traditions and techniques behind these amazing creations.
That's experiential travel.
Exactly, which is huge right now.
People want those authentic, immersive experiences.
And when you combine that with the allure of Japanese craftsmanship,
And a favorable exchange rate.
it could be a real winner.
It could be.
Imagine learning the art of traditional pottery from a master in Kyoto,
Wow.
or witnessing the process of silk weaving in some rural village.
It's about more than just buying a souvenir.
It's about connecting with the culture on a deeper level.
I love that.
Okay, so obviously this is all purely hypothetical.
Of course, this is not financial advice segment after all.
Exactly. Just having some fun exploring these what-if scenarios.
Right. Sometimes thinking outside the box can lead to new ideas.
Absolutely. But let's get back to reality for a second. The Bank of Japan has really left everyone wondering what their next move will be.
No kidding. It's the big question on everyone's mind.
Will they hike rates in the new year? Or will they hold steady?
And how will that impact the yen?
So many variables at play.
It's a complicated situation for sure. Predicting the future is, well, impossible.
Yeah, but one thing we do know
Yeah,
is that the yen's value is something to watch closely.
absolutely.
It can affect so many things.
It really can. Everything from import and export prices to travel costs to investment strategies.
It's all connected. It's like a giant, intricate web.
Exactly. And understanding these global financial dynamics is crucial.
Whether you're a seasoned investor or just trying to understand the world around you.
You got it.
So we've covered a lot of ground today, from the Bank of Japan's surprise decision
Right.
to our wild, this is not financial advice, speculation.
Hopefully you've given our listeners some food for thought.
Absolutely. Now, before we wrap up, I think it'd be great to leave our listeners with one final thought to ponder.
Yeah, a little something to spark their curiosity.
What if, instead of focusing on all the potential negatives of a weakening yen,
Okay.
we consider the opportunities it might present?
I like that.
It's about finding the silver lining,
Right, looking beyond the headlines to see the bigger picture.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe a weaker yen will actually lead to a resurgence of Japanese innovation and creativity
Interesting.
as businesses adapt and find new ways to thrive.
Japan does have a long history of resilience and reinvention.
It does. Maybe this is the catalyst for something new and unexpected.
It's a fascinating thought. That's the beauty of economics. It's constantly evolving.
Always presenting new challenges and opportunities.
And hey, maybe your idea about investing in traditional Japanese crafts won't be so outlandish after all.
That's what we try to do here at Talk Techers. Explore the complexities of finance and hopefully make it all a bit less intimidating.
Yeah, we're all in this together, right? Learning as we go.
Exactly.
Huh.
And speaking of Talk Tickers, be sure to subscribe to the show so you don't miss any of our deep dives,
We'll be breaking down earnings calls,
covering the latest financial news.
trying to help you make sense of it all.
We're your guides to the fascinating and sometimes pretty wild world of finance.
That's us.
All right, everyone, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the Bank of Japan's latest decision.
And all the ripple effects on the Japanese yen.
It's a complex situation.
Yeah, no doubt.
And we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on it. Until next time, stay curious, keep learning.
And remember,
This is not financial advice.
never invest based solely on our crazy what-if scenarios.
Definitely not.
See you on the next Talk Tickers.